All right. Welcome back to our LA Multifamily Meetup. I'm Anthony Volin, owner and broker of The Collective, coming to you from West Hollywood. We serve Southern California, and we meet every month to bring you the most up-to-date knowledge on the multifamily and investor arena around real estate. Our mission is creating paths to wealth through real estate, and we truly believe that. That's why we bring you education for free all the time. So I'm actually going to get started because I'm super excited about I'm gonna screen share for you. I'm still not a pro at this. There's so many buttons. Um, where is my screen share? Sorry. Uh, Here we go. So we have a really exciting event coming up on July. I keep saying July, January 31st. So on January 31st, it's a Wednesday at 11 a.m. I was able to secure the California Association of Realtors Deputy Chief Economist to speak and give us an updated real estate market forecast for 2024. He did one a couple months ago. That was awesome. But a lot has changed in the last couple of months where there's a lot has changed, right? Like the level that we thought interest rates would get to has changed significantly. Market trends of as far as how busy the market has been, the economic outlook, a lot of things have changed over the last couple of months. So we're going to give you the most up-to-date real estate market forecast on January 31st. Usually when he speaks, it's just for realtors, but he's allowed us to invite our database and our friends and clients to this. So if you'd like to RSVP and attend, our Zoom room is limited. So it'll be live streamed to Facebook as well later. But the RSVP link is here at the bottom. It's just thecollectiveeducation.com. So thecollectiveeducation.com will take you to an RSVP page, and you'll get Zoom access and be able to join us on Wednesday morning, January 31st. So we look forward to seeing you guys there. Next, like Will had mentioned, it's our opportunity to share different properties or anything that's off market. And Will always has something to share that he's working on, which is awesome. So why don't we get to your page? I think we have it loaded up for you, right? Yeah, Marshall. Where?
And I can talk a little bit right
Yeah.
now about give a little bit of a market update.
Yeah, let's do that as well.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sure. So, hey everybody, now I'm live. How are you? So good to see everybody. Good to see everybody in person as well. So yeah, I think for those of us who are in the multifamily market right now, I think we're still in a similar place that we've been in since interest rates have started increasing, right? So since interest rates started increasing in May 2022, up until the point at which they've kind of topped out, we've seen a definite slowing in the market, right? There's not a lot of transactions happening. The reason being is that, a lot of properties just haven't been penciling out for a lot of investors. And we've been seeing properties stay on the market longer. We've seen a lot of price cuts. We've seen cap rates go up. I am seeing cap rates in LA going for 6 caps. I've seen stuff going close to 7 caps. We have not seen those numbers in a very, very long time. And the whole reason is that, like I said, with the increase in interest rates, you're starting to see people kind of like readjust their expectations. Another thing that we're starting to see is that, as many of you know, if you have a multifamily property with 5 units or more, you know that your financing is not set. Meaning like you're not going to get a 30-year fixed mortgage on properties that are 5 units or more. What does that mean? It means that you're starting to see interest rates reset for some of these properties that were bought in the last 5 years. And that means that some of those owners are no longer able to make their numbers work. So we're starting to see a little bit of distress in the market in that people are having to sell because their interest rates have jumped. I can say this personally. I manage a family property, 16 units in North Hollywood that started at a 4.1 interest rate in 2018. In 2023, towards the end of last year, it reset to 6%. Now, 3 months later, it's reset to 7%. Okay. The difference in terms of mortgage costs has jumped $3,000 a month. That's not chump change for most people, right? Everybody has to think about this. Everybody has to think about how these numbers work for them. In addition, right, we have additional distress for a lot of investors in that LA has not allowed any rent increases for properties that are under the rent stabilization ordinance. Those are that are rent controlled for 4 years. 1, 2, 3, 4 years. February 1st, for the first time in 4 years, rent increases will be allowed. Now, originally, those were scheduled to be allowed at 7% for most properties, plus an additional 1 or 2% if you paid gas and electric for the tenants. However, that was changed by the city council and is now a 4% increase is allowed. And once again, an additional 1 or 2% if you pay gas or electric. That is effective February 1st. Not everybody knows that. The thing is, if you haven't already given your tenants notice of that, they have to have at least 30 days notice. So if you haven't given your tenants notice, you can't implement that increase on February 1st. You have to wait, right, until you can give them that notice. So make sure if you need to. Previously, one of our speakers here was the head of the Apartment Association of Greater Los Angeles, Daniel Ugelson, excuse me. And so if you don't belong to an apartment association and you don't have the proper forms, or you're not working with a realtor who has the proper forms, make sure you get a proper form. Because if you don't have a proper form to give to your tenants, deliver them to your tenants, that increase is not a legal increase. Okay. So if you have any questions on that, please reach out. We're getting constant calls with regards to this, through particularly on the property management side. Keep in mind, not all units are obviously under rent control. I'm talking about specifically in this case, LA City rent control. West Hollywood has its own rent control regime. Santa Monica has its own rent control regime. Beverly Hills has its own rent control regime. Every city can possibly have their own rent control regime. So wherever you're investing, make sure that you understand the rules. And then there are obviously in LA that are unincorporated LA County rules as well. So there's city rules, there's county rules, there's state rules. Make sure you understand what each of those rules are. And we've done multiple seminars on these various rules, and we're going to have more again. We're going to have other speakers come and talk about all the different rules. So what does that mean for you? What does that mean for us as investors? Well, I do think that there are now some opportunities. You're starting to see, for example, in the not getting out of multifamily, but just getting into say like Class A office space, right? Let's just talk about commercial real estate. You're starting to see some serious distress in that space, right? I mean, a lot of people are not going back to work, right? So these Class A office buildings, some of them are more than 50% vacant. And you're starting to see some of these operators literally hand the keys back to the bank. And so what's happening, what we're seeing in the market is that family offices, private money is starting to grab these at a serious discount. There was a big there's a big sale on Brand Boulevard in Glendale, a huge Class A office building. I think the address was 350 Brand Boulevard, but I might be wrong there. It was in the news, and it had been bought for 140 million not that long ago, like five or 6 years ago. They sold at a 60% discount. 60%, right? Okay. Private family office, all cash buy. Okay. So people are seeing distress in that market and they're starting to pick things up. There's been a lot of cash waiting on the side for some distress in the market to wait to see what's happening. The issue with multifamily, the thing that we've always seen in multifamily, right, is that yes, there's distress. Oftentimes that's both interest rate as well as regulatory, right, with the various issues with regards to eviction moratoriums and whatnot. But the one thing that we can always count on in Southern California is we have a dearth of housing, right? And because of that, we have very low vacancy rates, right? Particularly always in multifamily. And so a lot of people are just hanging on for right now. They're not wanting to sell. And so it's really important to sense when, because as I've said many times in these seminars, if you're an investor, where do you make your money? You make your money on the buy, on the purchase. Smart investors know that when you buy something for the right price, you already know what your exit is supposed to be, okay? And we talk about this a lot, how to calculate cap rates, how to calculate GRMs. All that is very important, but even more important to know is what is the cap rate in your area? What is the GRM in your area? How do you know what's the value add you can do? Which is why we get so many questions about ADUs, right? People know that as soon as you put an ADU on your property, you're going to increase the value of your property by an X factor, right? What is that X factor? That's what we're here to talk about today. So before we get into that, as I mentioned, we always talk about some listings, and people are more than welcome. We'll talk about wants and needs here, but let's bring up this one. Thank you. Okay. Can you guys,
So go back to it. It's right down the top. The first email. No. Go back to the email. Go back to the email. Click right. Nothing. Just that. Yeah.
okay. Do you guys see this?
Anywhere on
Maybe click in the black. Oh, no, not working. It's odd.
Yes, I can see it.
Okay.
Now I can't. It
Now you
comes
can't.
and goes. Now I see it.
Now you see it?
Is it highlighted, you guys?
Is it highlighted? Does it look kind of bluish?
It looks blue.
It looks blue to us too. Something's off with the shading. We can provide a link in the chat for everybody. So this is a good example actually of kind of ADUs before the whole ADU thing came about. So this was originally a single family house in Boyle Heights, a 3-bedroom, 1-bath house, and this was zoned on an R3 lot. So basically there it is. Now you can see it. The previous owner put in 2 1-bedroom units in the back. So now there's 3 units on the property. Now this is important, okay? Because this is something that a lot of people don't realize when you build additional properties on something that is one lot. In this case, originally, the single family house, if you just have a single family house, it's not under typical rent stabilization rules, rent stabilization ordinance in the city of Los Angeles. However, if you build on that lot, the original house can become subject to rent control. And that's what happened here. So that house, okay, the 3-bedroom, 1-bath house is technically under LA rent control. The 2 1-bedroom units in the back are not under LA rent control. And that can happen. You can have literally multiple properties on the same lot, and they will have different rent control regimes based on the date that they were built. And that's this particular property. So the front house, so 3-bedroom, 1-bath, rents for about $2,700 a month, a little under 27. The 2 1-bedroom units are getting, I think, like one's getting 17 and one's getting 19. So total income is over 6,200, close to 6,300, which gives this an 11.9 GRM and a 6.3 cap. So like I said, you're starting to see properties that are over a 6 cap in the city of Los Angeles. So this is not on the market. This is an off-market property. So we are putting this off market at $895. If anybody has any questions, feel free to put your information in the chat, and we're happy to send you more information. We can send you this flyer as well as other information. So that's one. This is a commercial property. This is in the city of Burbank. Burbank, for those of you who don't know, does not have business tax for people who own businesses there, unlike the city of LA, unlike the city of West Hollywood, where you pay, if you have a business in those cities, you pay a business tax. In the city of Burbank, there is no business tax. So there's a lot of interest in owning or having a business based in Burbank. This is an office building. It'll be delivered fully vacant. There's 2 units. It's a small office building, 3,300 square feet. One unit's about 1/3 of that, so about 1,100 square feet. The other is about 2,200. Originally built as a co-working space. We actually have a co-working operator that's interested in the space. It's also great for lawyers, accountants, insurance people. We've had various folks look at this. It has 6 individual offices. It has a conference room. It has a large bullpen area. It has little phone booths. So you can see it's completely remodeled down to the studs, brand new electrical, brand new plumbing, the whole deal. That's the larger space, the 2,200 square foot space. The 1,100 square foot space is just a wide open, open floor plan space that you can do whatever you want. It's zone C4, which means that it has a wide variety of uses up to including medical. It's got 5 tandem parking spaces, so 10 parking spaces total. It's on Victory Boulevard between Verdugo and Alameda, so very centrally located. It is open, so if anybody is interested in touring, I just toured this morning. So if anybody is interested in taking a look, please let me know. We're offering it at $2.35 million. Does anybody else, I know there's a number of realtors on the call, does anyone else have a listing that they'd like to share? Oh yes, Anthony.
So it's not an income property. It's a single family home in Palos Verdes, but there's a lot of potential for someone who wants to possibly flip it. It's right on the top of the hill, right near Peninsula High, not Palos Verdes High, Peninsula High, right by the mall. There's not a view, but we're going to be listing it for about 1.5. It's basically 70s, 80s style inside. Everything needs to be rehabbed on the inside, but it's in an over $2 million neighborhood. So if there's someone who's looking for a project to come in to flip it and to rent it, or to just to flip it, it would be a great opportunity. It's probably going to come on the market in February, but happy to show you some pictures and talk to you about it ahead of time. Just send me, I'll put my contact info in the chat.
Anybody here else here have anything? A want or a need? I have a client need. They have a very well-to-do business actually at the Grove, and they are looking to expand and are looking for like a food prep space, like kind of like a bakery space for their back end. And then they would love for there to be some ability to do retail in the front. And they're looking for like 5,000 to 7,000 square foot kind of warehouse space with the hood, probably for cooking. And they're looking kind of west side, I would say Culver City and Culver City adjacent. You know, they're even willing to go into the valley, but would prefer to stay on the west side. They have a pretty sizable budget. So if anybody has a space like that, that's off market, please let me know. We have a lot of folks, we have someone who's very interested in something like that. I see something, somebody wrote something in the chat. We can read it. Let's see.
So can you read it?
Elena, looking for live work or commercial property on the west side north of Florence near 405, 12 to 1500 interior square foot, Culver City, Venice, West LA, Playa del Rey, Marina, North Inglewood. Okay. Very good. Anyone else have any other wants or needs? All right then. Well then with that, we're going to give it over to our guest speakers today. Amir and Brad are with Urbane Design, excuse me. And so Amir is a general contractor and also licensed civil engineer. Brad is the design director. And they are here today to talk about ADUs and SB9. And I'm sure they'll give about a 15, 20-minute presentation. And then after that, we'll open it up for questions. So feel free to ask those questions after they are finished with their presentation. And with that, I'll hand it over.
You guys want to maybe scoot down a little bit so you can kind of see everybody. Whatever works. And just make sure whoever's talking has the mic. Yeah, okay.
Hi everyone, my name is Amir. I'm a licensed civil engineer specialized in structural engineering, structural design. Also a general contractor, but not doing but I've decided not to do construction anymore because of the headache. It's too much to deal with. And yeah, thanks Phil for the opportunity. And I don't know about the cap and stuff which you said, Bill, but I think it's not good news, right? This is I hope it's good. Is it good? Okay. Yeah, we are, you know, in this presentation, we decided to like have some of the projects which we actually designed, and some of them are like a permit is final, or is some of them are during the it's the ongoing construction, to represent those as like we decided to cover the like a single family residential, the zones which you can use like do addition, garage conversion, ADU, attached, detached ADUs, junior ADUs, and how SB9 you can apply those into your property. And at the end, we are going to go over multifamily residential zones, R3, RD 1.5, and R2. Again, attached, detached ADUs, and how you can do small lot subdivision. And, you know, this is the whole purpose of this was since if you, by one click, you can have access to tons of videos or like a text about the ADUs. We decided the ADUs and SB9 junior ADUs, we decided to like give basically an example of how this works in real world, and just not touching the scratching the face by just giving you some stuff that you already definitely know. So, Brad, if you want to like add anything.
Sure. As Amir said, we have different type of code that we can use, like ADU and SB9, and we can combine them together. So we decide to show this workshop in a way that, for example, if you have a simple lot in Los Angeles, like 6,000 square foot in R1 zone, what are the options? What is the best way to have more units, more square footage, what we can do it. So it's like an example, but each city and each area might have different things, and then we can go to the expertise to find out what is the.
Yeah, basically ADU ordinance and SB9, these legislations are passed in the state, California state, but each city usually had they have some additional requirements which applies. So basically each city has created their own regulations and requirements.
Yeah, technically we have a state law, but any city have different ordinance too. So yeah, for example, in Los Angeles, if you have a property like 6,000 square foot, the minimum option is to just convert your garage or convert your existing portion of your house. We can call it the ADU without adding an area. So the difference between junior ADU and attached ADU in this opportunity is the junior ADU let you to have another ADU, which can be detached or attached. But when you have a attached ADU, so that's it. But it's limited to 500 square foot when you convert it to junior ADU.
So if sorry.
Okay.
So in this case, without doing any not a major construction, you can convert any portion of the existing footprint of the house,
existing permitted footprint.
Footprint of the house to up to 500 square foot to junior ADU and up to 1,000 square foot to ADU.
Technically any portion of the house, but usually people convert the garage because it's easier to not touch the house and keep it as is. Another option is to have a detached ADU, keep the front unit as is. So how big we can have the detached ADU? In LA, we can have 1,200 square foot of detached ADU in rear half of the property. But there's a residential floor area limit. For the most of area in LA is 45%, but as I mentioned, each area might have different, and hillside is different. So in this regular lot, if you consider 45%, they consider to use all these 1,200 square foot in this RFA. So if you don't have enough space, and I don't know, main house already has big enough, so you cannot have this 1,200. They consider both together, and the total should be less than 45% of the lot size. In this case, would be 2,700. It's the total of the main house and the detached ADU. So what is the other option that we can? I just want to show one of our experience that is built in Los Angeles. So in this case, you can see the existing single family in front. We don't touch it at all, and this lot has enough space for the RFA. I call the residential floor area or RFA. So we can just add that. We just add that 1,200 square foot, one story at the back. As you can
so
see.
this is like a 1,200 detached ADU, which is a T shape at the rear, far rear of the.
It should be in a half rear portion of the property. It cannot be in front. Just keep in mind for a detached ADU. So what the other option is to have, as I mentioned about junior ADU, you can have detached ADU and a junior ADU together. So technically you have 3 units, and that junior ADU is not considered in RFA. So it can be same scenario. You can remove the garage. You don't need to provide a parking for ADU if it's in a half a mile to the public transit. In that case, you need to just provide on-site parking. So you don't need to provide covered garage or anything. What is the more? What else we can do? Okay, also we can have 2 story in LA, we can have 2-story detached ADU. In that 1200 can play with the shape. It's not limited. The height limit, there's a height limit, but you can have 2-story. Same, even the house is 1-story. You can have the 2-story ADU in the back.
So this
And also
option
the junior
compared
ADU.
to the last one, like some of the owners, they like to have like a decent backyard to do like
Correct.
some fun stuff. So they have the option to, instead of expanding, taking more square footage of the backyard, just increase the height, build the house, like build the ADU up to 1200 square foot in 2 stories.
Yeah.
So it's, and they have more backyard, and also they're gonna lose a little bit of space because of the stairs. That's
Yeah.
the only.
That's the only thing, yeah. And keep in mind, just 4 feet setback is enough for all these ADU options, rear and side. What else? So we can, instead of having junior ADU, you don't have to convert your garage to ADU. You can remove the garage and use that area and even add your existing house in addition to the cap of that 45%. So that's another option. So you remove the garage, that's it. Because you have ADU. When you add an ADU, you can remove the garage. It doesn't matter where it is. So in this case, we have one of our project that we can see there is a detached garage in the back, and also there is a existing SFP in the left side. You can see we remodel and have some addition to the limit of the RFA, as you see on the right side, and also have a 2 detached ADU at the back, like you can see in the photo. Let me show you another one. So in this case, you can have the separate area for each one. So that ADU has a own backyard and everything, and the single family dwelling in front has separate, and no, you don't need to provide any garage.
So in this case, if we can go to the one, like a one, yeah. So in this case, the existing was a detached garage in the back, which was removed and converted to a 2-story, 1200 square foot detached ADU. And as you can see in the next slide, you know, they fenced it out in a way that now the owner is renting these 2 units separately, and yeah, it's.
Yeah. You can see some other views.
It's the same project, which
Yeah.
is completely like the
Yeah.
construction is performed and completed.
What are the other options? So as I mentioned, 1200 square foot is considered an RFA. Is there any other way to add up the area of the main house? Yes, we can use all the residential floor area limit for the main house and make it addition, okay, for example, 2nd story for the main house. And if we keep the detached ADU to 800 square foot, they don't consider all it as a RFA. So this all of it gonna be exempt. So that square footage, yeah, it's not considering the total area of this property. So if you reduce for the detached ADU, if you reduce it to 800, they exempt it from RFA. And also, for sure, you can have a junior ADU, and that's exempt too.
So in this case, if you go back a little bit, so in this case, that floor ratio area is like into it 45% into its full capacity is constructed in the main house, which you can see it's a 2-story. And that garage converted up to 500 square foot to junior ADU. And the detached ADU in the back, 800 square foot, is exempt from that floor ratio area, meaning that you can like have a bigger like a house.
Yeah, it's very good for small
Yeah,
lots.
so-
When you don't have enough space, the 45% of a lot is nothing. So that would be great to have 800 square foot ADU and
Which
not
is
consider,
exempt.
yeah.
Up to 800 square foot is exempt,
Yeah.
and junior ADU, so it's like 3 units, 1 decent house, like a large house, 800 square foot in the back, detached ADU, and 500 square foot junior ADU, which is exempt again.
But in Los Angeles code, I mean, an ordinance said that for attached ADU, you can add up to 1,000 square foot, and it's exempt. The thing, we should consider that for the attached ADU, if I mentioned that you can have 1,200 square foot ADU, detached or attached, but the thing is for attached, if it's 1,200, the house should be twice size of that ADU, which should be 2,400, which you might not have it. So in that case, if you keep it 1,000, it's gonna be exempt all, and you can have it attached 1,000 square foot ADU. So technically, they motivate you to have a smaller unit and have to have a better options. Then still you can have use all RFA in the main house. You can have it above the main house, above the garage, anywhere. You can attach it in front instead of ADU, detached ADU. You can have it anywhere. For example, in this case, in second story above the existing house.
So again, in this case, you have you can keep the backyard, just do the addition to the main house.
Yeah.
To the second floor, define it as an like an attached ADU, which is exempt up to 1,000 square foot. Have your junior ADU convert the garage to junior ADU, and have if there is any pool, they don't want to touch it, keep it like that.
Yeah.
And use the backyard.
And also, for sure, you can add up the main house and up to the maximum RFA and have the attached ADU exempt, as I mentioned. So in this case, for example, the main house, they have addition to the house to the maximum RFA, and also same as the detached one, but make sure, keep in mind, it is 1,000, not 800 for the detached ADU, and also we can add a junior ADU. So you have a 3 units, which 1,500 over the RFA, technically 1,500 over the RFA. The square footage is more, and you have 3 units in this case. But still, we can add more this way. So then another option that is come out is, so SB9 has 2 different law. I just want to mention that the first one I want to mention is two unit development, which allows you to have a second single family dwelling. They don't call it ADU. So there is no limit, there is no maximum limit for that, for the second unit. So you can have 2 complete units in a property, and you just use it's very similar to, I mean, the process is very similar to the ADU, but there's a different, for example, it should be minimum 800. In ADU, you can have like 105, 50 ADU, but for the SB9, it should be 800. But it can be, if the lot is big, you can have like, I don't know, 4,000 square foot, the house too. So that's an opportunity for some, but it's not gonna exempt if it's more than 800. Let me describe it in this option. So in this option, imagine one of those options that we had, like ADU, for example, attached ADU and junior ADU, and the main house addition to the RFA. If we keep that SB9 800, again, it's going to be exempt. And it should be exact 800, because it's not going to be, it cannot be less than 100. And if you want to use it as exempt, so the 800 exemption for SB9, 1,000 square foot exemption for attached ADU, and 500 for junior ADU, and the house can use all the RFA. You technically have 4 units, 3 of them is attached to each other, but just keep in mind, you cannot attach all of them together. So the code doesn't allow you to attach 4 units in the residential R1 zone. So it can be combination of 2, 2, 3, 1, or like this one is 3 units in one structure and the one.
So the magic numbers are 500 square foot, 800 square foot, 1,000 square foot, and 1,200 square foot. But it applies to different scenarios, how it works.
At this point, yeah. Another option is to attach these 3 units, 1,000 square foot, 800, and do not have junior ADU, because then you can have attach them all together. It might help in some designs, and you have just keep the garage, for example, or it depends on the property. You can have more backyard and put SB9 in the second story or ADU in first story, so they all combine together. But an addition to the main house to the RFA limit, because all those units, those additional units, are not considered in RFA.
So in this case, Brad, we are having the main house in front, which is maximized, which is enlarged to the maximum RFA limit, and that white.
That's a garage.
That's a garage.
We can keep it as is. Yeah.
We have to keep it as is, and we have like an attached ADU in the back on the first floor, which is up to 1,000 square foot exempt, and we have added using SB9 like a law to add 800 square foot to the second floor, which is also exempt. But in this case, that garage, you cannot convert it to
junior ADU.
Junior ADU
because it's all attached. 4 units.
Basically, you can build up to 4 units in each lot, but you cannot attach them all. One of them should be detached.
At least, yeah. So we had this project in a hillside. The RFA on that property was different. that was 18% of it, and that was a big lot, but the maximum RFA they had is like about 1,400, which in this lot doesn't make sense to have this small unit. And so by using these two codes, SB9 and attached ADU, we add up that to like 3,400 square foot unit, and we design it in that area, something like that, as you can see. So this is the main house in red, you can see, and the other one is the SB9, all attached together and attached ADU above, and they can all together. And now it's like a decent house they can build because they exceed from the RFA. And without it, it's not doesn't make sense to build this small unit in this hillside. And
So can we go back to the so this it's a hillside project, and if they go based on the maximum RE 40 zone, which is after like a slope analysis, it's going to be come up with 18% RFA, which gives them almost 1,400 square foot. Considering the hillside project, for this project we designed like 18 or 19 K size, like 2 feet 6 inches. It's like $1 million projects construction wise. Doesn't make sense for 1,400 square foot.
yeah, the view is great.
Yeah. So what we did, actually, we designed it in a way that, if we can go to the next, we designed it with a main house, attached ADU, and attached SB9 secondary dwelling unit, and we designed it in a way that by removing a couple of partitions, you can have it as a whole, like 3,400 square foot house. Now it makes sense to invest and build such a house on a property.
I see that some people ask a question about the RFA. It's a residential floor area. It's a limit that each property has. For example, as I mentioned, in this property is 18%, but the other one that I mentioned is 45%. Most of the LA properties, the limit is 45% of the lot size. We call it RFA, so residential floor areas. That's a limit of the residential area, but there is some exemption that you can exceed from that. That's for mentioning it.
Yeah, this is some 3D renderings the owners ask us to do for. This is the same project. It's RTI, and the owner is just trying to build it.
Another option is to have combination of 2 units in front and 2 units in back. So that's, again, you can have it 1,000 square feet, 800. So for the SB9 and junior ADU, as I mentioned, it can be 3 or 1 or combination of 2. So the 2 structure, and you can use all the. Or you can, instead of exempted, sometimes you need a 2 house to decent size of the house and just 2 units attached to it. Yeah, you can split the RFA, the residential floor area limit, to these 2, the main house and the second unit for the SB9, and attach the ADU to one of them up to 1,000 and the other one junior ADU. Another code for the SB9, which is different, it's completely different thing, which call it lot split, SB9 lot split. So you can split your lots into 2 and sell one of them. In case that you add another house on the other one, you need at least add 1 house on the other one, and also you can split it in half or 40%, 60%. So you cannot have
like
30, 70.
If you're doing the lot split, you cannot have if it's a 10,000, for example,
10,000
square foot lot, you cannot have 1,000 and 9,000. It should be between 40 and 60.
Yeah, so, corner lots is very good for this opportunity, and also those lots that have 2 access from back and front. But it's still doable if you have just 1 access. You need to just have a driveway for the other one.
Yeah, it's going to if
this is just example.
Yeah, it's going to be a flag lot. We have to provide access to the lot in the back, but it's doable. Lot split.
Yeah, for example, this is the simple one. We just add another single family on the other lot and keep the existing. for sure you can have addition to both of them up to limit 45% of each lot. It's not the total. So each lot, if it's 40 for 60, it might be different. So each lot up to the 45% of the lot size, you can have addition. What else? Still, you can have 1,000 square foot ADU attached to them or 800 square foot detached. So in this case, you have 4 units. The cap is 4 unit, but the thing is, so when you use so there's a code for SB9, we call it two unit development and lot split and ADU. So this is 3 code that I described right now. You cannot use all 3 together. That's the thing in LA. So you cannot have 2 unit development and ADU together. So in this case, I just use ADU and lot split. You can see that I have attached ADU, I use the ADU, I don't have a second SFT on each lot. So because I use ADU, what are the options? Yeah, I can, in this case, I didn't use any ADU ordinance, but I used the 2 development and lot split. So I have 2 house and 2 SFT, 2 single family dwelling on each lot. So we have 4 different house but you cannot have any ADU or junior ADU in this case.
So
yeah.
basically any lot you can build again up to 4 units, depends on how big is the lot. You can come up with a design that maximize the floor area. For example, if the lot is small, you have to use those exemptions to add to the floor area. But if you have enough like a space, then you can have up to that 45%, that like a RFA that you can build up and have 4 like a
Decent house.
Decent like a single family dwellings. But again, 4, you cannot have more than 4 units,
code, yeah.
dwelling units.
We have a similar project to that, which is like a big property, and we decide to have same thing, 4 decent house instead of using all those ADU and small units. So these are kind of typical. I mean, they're similar to each other, and you can see the floor plan, 2-story with garage and everything. But the one existing SFT converted to 4 decent units, and you can split the lot and sell it individually. In this case,
so in this case, if we can go back to the first, this is a this is a huge lot, and the owner, which is a developer, they decided to just split the lot into lot A and lot B, and build like a
2-story
house on each lot. So this is something that you guys as realtors and investors and the professionals in this arena needs to come up with the plan that which one makes more sense for this property, which option is the best for this property, considering the neighborhood, considering all the factors which comes to play. But in this case, from our personal experience with our clients, if you don't want to sell your lot, don't split it, because so the SB9 is simple lot split, it's doable in Los Angeles and basically in California, but it takes a lot of time. So SB9 just expedite that process, but by ignoring a couple of actions which needs to be taken by the owners or designers. But again, it's going to take, for example, this project is ongoing. We have submitted everything. We got the corrections back. We resubmitted. It's almost like so far we have been working on this for like a year, hasn't been able to pull permit, and we are pushing.
Yeah, the planning is
we expedited the process. We're still pushing. We couldn't proceed with that. It takes time. Planning, zoning, all departments, they get involved. It takes time.
Yeah, for example, in this property, we have like 2,000 square foot house. We can have, we can keep one of them 800, and then it's going to exempt, and the other one can be 4,000. So, but the owner don't want the 4,000 square foot unit and 800, so we decide to divide it. But that 800 is going to exceed, but we don't use any exemption in this case. So in multifamily, again, imagine a property which has stuck under parkings and, for example, 8 unit. If what are the options for ADU for this property? First of all, still you can have one ADU, 1,200 square foot. That's doable. Same as the R1 zone, can be attached or detached. The calculation is a little different. It's not 45%. It's a FAR they call it, and it's a buildable area and up to the zone, and you can calculate it. But most of the multifamily I saw, they have enough space to add like 1,200 square foot. But the thing is, most of the owner that they want to add more units, not just one unit. So we want to see what are the other options. Before that, let me show you the one of our project, which is the add a detached ADU, 800 square foot in a multifamily. We don't keep we keep the garage as parking on site as is, and we just add another unit, as you can see at the rear portion of the property, and you don't need to provide parking in this scenario because it's enough space to the public transit.
So we didn't remove any parking spaces from this, in this project, and it's because of the distance from the major public.
Yeah.
Like
another way to convert is to use the existing non-livable area. Like what? Like garage and storage, laundry. So any non-livable area in your building, your multifamily, you can convert it to ADU. How many? That's the main question. So you should 25% of number of units. For example, if it's 8, you can convert 2. There's no limit on area. So you can convert all of it. That's crazy. I don't know why they have this code, but you can convert all of the garage to, but just 25% if it's 8. If it's more than that, number of units can be rounded up.
If it's 9, it's again 2.
Yeah, round down.
It down. It's 25% of the numbers round down. So 10, exactly. It's like still 2. When it goes 12 unit, you can have 3 additional units. It should be on the same footprint of the existing building. You cannot like addition. You can do any sort of addition.
But we have another code for the ADU. We call it you can add new to detached ADU building. So in case you need to keep the parking, on-site parking, you can build above them. So you can have carport under that and have 2, just a staircase going up. And the limit is just about height and setbacks again. So if you have enough space in your backyard, it's a new building. It's not addition or attachment. So it should be detached from the main structure, but the cap is 2. Can we combine these 2 codes together? Yes. LA allow you to have all those attached conversion and also have 2 other units in the rear property and their portion of the property.
So we can add up to 25% of the number of the units using the existing spaces which are not habitable, defined as habitable and permitted, and also have 2 detached ADUs like this, which is on the second floor, so they can park under
like a carport. Yeah.
But this involves since usually we have to we just pull permit for such a project.
That's the one. As you can see, the orange portion is the talk under parking. We converted, this one has 26 existing unit. We converted and rounded down to 6 attached ADU, 4 of them small studios, and 4 of them is on that portion, and 2 of them on the other one. And also we added 2 a detached ADU with the stairs going up, and so technically we have 8 units additional unit, and we remove all those parkings. So in some areas which is near to the major transit, we can remove all those parkings too. Just another option. Still, the limit is 18 feet if you are in a major transit. So you don't, in this case, you don't have any parking. So already have these 4 unit additional, but no parking. Another one is just this very quickly. Let me show you the small lot subdivision. If you imagine the main house, the first house I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, if it is an RD 1.5 zone, you can convert it to a couple of lots. and have a different single family dwelling on each and sell them separately. How many? It's the lot size divide by 1,500. So in this case, it's like a 6,000 square foot. It's going to be have 4 units. You can add up to area, and also you need to just, the only thing is shared is the driveway. Everything you can sell it, and you can have a cantilever up to 10 feet, and there's some setbacks rules. And so in this case, you can have different single, and you can have attached ADU on each of them also. We have a similar project to that, which you can see there's a common driveway in blue, and also there's a 4 units detached, attached to each other, but with a gap. So it's different lots, you can sell it individually.
Yeah, the city is asking for just a seismic separation gap between the buildings, which
That's
is
it.
minimum 6 inch.
Yeah, that one is in the construction now, so it's almost done. Okay, so just,
Yeah.
there's
We
a
try to
last one.
squeeze as much information as possible.
This is just the difference between Glendale and Burbank to LA. So for example, in Glendale, you can just have 1-story building, or you cannot combine those, and cause in multifamily, as I mentioned, LA, you can have both. Or in Burbank, you only can have the ADU above your garage if you want to have 2-story. And SB9, you cannot have a 2-story detached. That's it.
Thank you for.
I appreciate if you can visit our website and call us if you want
you
to.
have any
Any more
questions,
questions,
yeah.
we can help you.
Oh, there's a few questions we have in the chat. So I wanted to go over them. Well, first of all, thank you both for this presentation. That was very, very helpful. I can just say, like, from personal experience as a realtor, as a developer as well, almost all of these scenarios are starting to come to fruition. We, for instance, right now on the market have a ADU in the back of a house that someone built here right near the office, and that's for rent right now. We saw another one of our rentals is a small lot subdivision. They have 5 or 6 on the lot, and we're at one of those right now. And then I personally, as a developer, I have a situation where I have a 15,000 square foot lot in Highland Park. There's a duplex in the front, a single in the back. We had proposed to scrape the single and build 9 units in the back because it's already 1.5. But the city, because it's a historic district, wouldn't allow us to remove the back house. So we could move the back house, but they would only allow us to build 4 units. But because of the ADU laws, we were able to squeeze 3 more units and they couldn't do anything about it. So at least we were able to get 7 more units in our plans rather than just 4. So, so these laws are very powerful. And like I said, we're absolutely seeing these in practice. So one of the questions that we see that we got is from Lisa Lynn. What type of properties are excluded from SB9? Does the property owner have to live on site?
So technically, SB9 is just for R1 zone. It's a single family building. So all of those units, the property and zones is RE or R1 or RA. They can have a SB9, but still you need each property is different in each area. We need to check the eligibility. Some areas has different issues. For example, we had some project that this was tagged for some protected trees and some areas they might not allow you, but most of the R1 zone. So it's not for multifamily.
So it's
answer the
like
question.
there is a
Most of the
there is a covenant that city is asking to sign that guarantee that the owner is going to live in there. It's for
you're talking about SB9, right?
oh, SB9. So
Yeah,
it's just for the junior ADUs that if you convert garage to junior ADU.
They're asking about the SB9.
Yeah, okay, so no, that doesn't happen.
So it only applies to ADUs, not necessarily to SB9.
Yeah.
The covenant
Regarding the property owner having to live on the property.
and not ADU, just junior ADU.
Just junior
If
ADU.
you don't have junior ADU, you're fine.
Okay,
You
Got
can- You can rent all of them.
okay. Do other cities allow SB9 developments too, like Burbank, Beverly Hills, other city, LA cities, but not LA? The answer is yes, because it's a statewide law, right?
Yeah.
As I mentioned at the last video, the code might be different. For example, in Burbank, they allow you to have 2-story
Right,
second
exactly.
year,
So
yeah.
each city might have their
Yeah.
specificities in terms of what you could do, but at the end of the day, it's a statewide law.
They cannot oppose it.
Right.
They have to allow you to do it, but they make it stringent, let's say.
So what's interesting to me, if you have a lot in La Cañada, right? I mean, these are cities that really are very anti-development because they want to like keep a certain, you know, but if you have a lot, you could potentially build multiple houses on those lots, which would be worth millions, obviously. How do you split a lot that's got a mortgage? That's, oh, so I can answer this. So that's an issue. So when you have a mortgage on a property or you have title insurance on a property, when you bought that property, they were expecting you to have the whole property, right? If you decide to put ADUs, okay, that's fine, generally speaking. But if you decide to split the lot and sell that lot, that's a problem for most title companies as well as for most lenders. So you should absolutely check with your lender before you do anything like this, I would definitely say. Question from Ken. When you split the lot with SB9 and put 2 FSRs, 2 single families on each lot, how is the title held for each FSR, single family?
What do you mean about title?
Once again, this is a, when you split the lot with SB9 and you put a single family on each lot, how is the title held for each single family? Well, there's not obviously a lot of experience yet with SB9, but technically speaking, if you split a lot, that means each lot can be sold separately. So you could have different title for each lot.
Yeah, technically it's the same regular split, but they just expedite the process.
Exactly.
No, our question is that, you know, one of the slides we have 4 SFR, right? So.
You want to come up here?
Right. So one of the slides you show like 4 single family homes. We were just wondering, you know, is that going to be just 2 APN numbers because you only split the lot half? And then you have 2 houses this side.
exactly.
How are you gonna sell those properties? That was my question.
Can we go to the slide to see which one exactly?
Sell 2.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
you
each
can sell 2
property.
at the same time, you can sell each one of them?
Right.
Oh.
So it's a
But-
two.
Okay.
How about the ADU law where you can turn it into a condo?
Turn it
So
into a
if
condo.
it's a house and an ADU and a house and an ADU, you could have 4 different sales.
Hmm.
So that's what we need to learn about next.
Oh, okay.
But that's what the law says.
If we have any lawyers in the house, any any real estate lawyers, feel free to speak up. Question from Dimitri. Can an owner petition to utilize SB9 in HPOZ zones? He's talking about historic preservation overlay zones. That was actually the example that I was giving with the property that I had. It's in HPOZ. So technically SB9 should, I mean, you'd have to talk to a real estate lawyer. I think SB9, since it's a state law, would override an HPOZ. So it just depends on, you would have to review, everything's dependent on the local city ordinance and whether or not it overrides what the state ordinance. You're gonna have to talk to a real estate lawyer for each individual case.
Yeah, some of these specific things like historical or protected areas, they didn't deny it at the beginning, but when you just submit your project to the planning, they can say, okay, there's historical department gonna review it if it's suitable or not.
Yeah,
So
there
it's-
was a
you cannot say.
project which we submitted like the
Lot
plan,
split.
yeah, it was a lot split. The planning approved it, but it was a wild habitat which was declined. And they asked for what was,
Yeah, they said you cannot use this.
Yeah, there is a-
because
there
you
is
should
a-
go to the regular case.
there is a bird living
Yeah.
in this area which we cannot.
Yeah, so there's always exceptions.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you just Google exemptions from SB9, there's a list of properties types that cannot have SB9 happen to them, and HPOZ zones is one of them. So that's definitely something to take into consideration. But I had a question about SB9. I've never seen the way you described it in the slide where you have the hillside property and you had the unit that was attached, and you called it an SB9 unit. What we've been hearing so far in our sessions is when you're doing SB9, it's usually a lot split, but that was attached to that. So what does SB9 say that you can do? Why was that being able to be done? That made that project work.
So it's better to divide these two lots in your mind, because the lot split is something else, but the 2-unit development is very similar to ADU. So that specific one has the SB9 2-unit development, which is similar to ADU. So we can have ADU 2-unit development and the main house. We don't split the lot. Actually, the code allows you to have another unit that is not ADU. So, consider it as
So
like
SB9 without SB9, you have two options. You can split your lot and sell one, or sell both of them, or you can add a secondary dwelling unit.
Actually single family
To your property if you have enough like an RFA that you can add.
Got it.
And
can
even in this case, we didn't have that leverage to add any square footage. We added up to 800 square foot, which is exempt. So in that project, we add 800 square foot exempt for SB9 and 1,000 square foot exempt for ADU. So 1,800 square foot was in additional to what was regularly allowed to build in that property.
Yeah, that particular slide, to me, that was the most creative way I've seen them all been used together. And I was like, wait, I don't quite get how that happens. But yeah, that's very interesting.
This one, this is, You see that, you see the dining table, there is a partition there. So that's the main house. The red
orange
one, the blue one is the ADU or SB9, the SB9. And we designed it in a way that they remove that partition and works in as a whole.
All of them is attached to each other, so they can work together. The SB9 don't say that it should be detached, it can be attached. So then you can just combine them together, you know what I mean?
I've never heard of someone doing SB9 attached, like explaining it that way. That's really,
we have
thank you.
We have a question from Johnson. In order to sell the ADU separately, do you need to create an ADU? And do you have to sell the ADU as a condo? Maybe I'll answer this. So in order to sell an ADU separately, if you're not doing an SB9 split, you're probably gonna have to sell it as a TIC, as a tenant in common. And if you're doing a tenant in common, yes, you would have to create an HOA. So hopefully that answers that question. You do not have to sell the ADU as a condo. In fact, that's a new law that still hasn't been done yet.
Starts January 1st.
Just started.
Each year, new thing.
I don't think anyone's done it.
From design to build, this is from James, from design to build to occupancy, how long does it take for, say, a JADU and an ADU?
Detached ADU.
From design to build to occupancy,
ADU and ADU.
how long does it take for, say, a JADU and an ADU?
So this one, I think, again, it's the case, it's really different case to case, depends on clearances, which city is gonna, how many departments they're gonna refer. But I think for a junior ADU and ADU,
if it's attached ADU,
it's like let's say 4 to 6 months, we can pull the permit. Construction, that's let's say since another 6 to 9 months. So it's
So about a year and a half.
a year and a half.
okay, it's just junior ADU with garage conversion, so construction might be easier, just add a wall.
Yes, if it's a garage conversion, it might be quicker. Okay. On average, it's from Ken. What is the cost and how long would it take to split a lot using SB9?
Yeah, the city permit fee is much more than the regular one. I know that. And we cannot come up with a price, but we can say it's much more there. More
so the city fees, we are not sure.
Every city is different, right? Every city is different in their
city
fees.
we are talking
Right.
about. We can have
Just for example, Los
Los Angeles again. How big is the lot? All these factors, all these items, factored in to come up with the price. Right now, we submitted a plan. It's a TI improvement, tenant improvement. They're just for a small opening in a masonry wall. They charge $2,000 for just plan check fee.
Yeah,
I don't know how they come up with these. And I said, so
I remember this one is about like 40K planning processes and also probably some at the end like 100K.
Yeah, it's
something
like for
that.
this project, since the owner is a friend of us, we know that he paid almost 150K just the city.
All of the building and safety, but for the, this is because of the planning case, it takes like longer. and-
Oh, I know. I'm well aware.
It depends on the square footage, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do we have any other questions? Do you want to put up your contact information up there? Do you have a slide for your contact information?
Yeah, we will be more than happy to, if anyone can just reach to us and we can say if it's eligible or not, or if it, how many options you can have. And
Yeah, we can
consult.
provide some like a services as a consultant just to the to give you some ideas that what are the options with your property you're planning to purchase. But
We just need an address.
yeah, you can send. Yeah, you can send to. So this is our website. You can always our contact info is there, or just put an info in front. info@urbanedesign.co, not com. .co. We always have problem. We submit the plans to the city. They send email to wrong email address.
Yeah, Urbane. It's not
Urbane,
urban.
yeah, it's not urban.
Okay. Does anyone online have any other questions, thoughts, comments before we go, before we drop you guys off? And we huddle amongst ourselves in person?
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you all. It was good to see you all. Thank you. Thank you to our speakers. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. If you don't mind stopping that for a second. And just as a final reminder, I hope you guys enjoyed today. If you do, please come back on January 31st. That's when we're going to have our chief economist from CAR here with us. This will be a hybrid event as well, here in the office or on Zoom. Register at thecollectiveeducation.com, but it's Wednesday, January 31st at 11. You're all invited to join and see what is going to happen with this real estate market this year. All right, everybody, have a great week. And again, check out our YouTube page for this video from today, or for any of our past videos. Just search The Collective Realty, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.